So, Discord. All right. So, welcome to tonight's call. Like I said, let's all let me mute everybody here. Maureen LaMarca, Diamond Coach on our team. There we go. That's nice and quiet. Will be hosting tonight's call. And like I said, she does some amazing personal development and motivational calls. And she's always sassy. So put your big girl pants on or big boy pants on and get ready to listen. Take it away, Maureen.
Hello, everybody. So glad that you're on. Okay, so I am not going to be talking about Beachbody. And if I do talk about Beachbody, it'll be more in reference to sort of harnessing the power that we already have inside of us. So this is not going to be a typical sort of business-related call. I'm not going to be talking about vital behaviors necessarily, except for a little bit of personal development. But you're going to get your personal development right now. So if you haven't done it today, great, you're going to have it. I had the privilege and honor of running a group yesterday, and it was a women's empowerment group. And so really it was about being confident and taking care of ourselves, having self-care, and just really kind of believing in yourself. So I told them a story, and some of you might have heard this story before, but I'm going to tell you my story, and then I'm going to read and get going. There was a period of life where I was dating this guy who was a major douche, and Erica knows him, and Dana knows him. I dated him in college. I actually dated him for 7 years. And there was a period in our relationship where I just really was feeling horrible about myself, and I really felt ugly. Then add in having, this is in college, and then add in sexual assault that had happened in college, and I was really feeling down. And it's weird to be like in a social work program where you're like learning about like counseling and therapy techniques, and like you're feeling like the worst vile piece of nothingness, you know? And so there inside of it was like, you don't really need to get it together. Like you've got to do something. And I was learning about affirmations and the power of affirmations and really what they can do for us, you know. And so what I did literally was this. I write a poem to myself every single night right before I would go to bed. So I would get into bed like when I was ready, and I would read this poem. And then sometimes before I would read it, I would write out like maybe negative things that had happened just to sort of like get it out of me. And then I would read this poem before I went to bed. And every day, whenever I would see myself in any reflective surface, so whether it was a window, a door, literally a mirror, I would say, I'm so pretty. Now, maybe that seems cheesy and maybe it's a chuckle, but I really didn't feel like I was on the inside or the outside. So I would do that. I had friends that would laugh at me. I remember being in the car and a friend of ours, Alana, like totally laughed. I think it was Alana and Beth, and I don't know who else. Maybe Erica was even in the car. And we were going to this nightclub, and I you pull the mirror down. I was sitting in the passenger seat, and I pulled the mirror down. I was like putting lipstick on or whatever. And I was like, I'm so pretty. Hey, Trudy. And so I said, I'm so pretty. And I remember them laughing, and they're like, what are you doing? And I'm like, listen, I'm just going to keep saying it to myself, you know? And so I literally did. I would say it to myself every single day, multiple times a day. until I really started to believe it. And then instead of pretty, I was saying beautiful. And so I'm sharing that because there are periods in our lives, and maybe even now, we get so stressed, we get caught up in life. Right now, people are caught up in the hustle and bustle of the holiday season. And a lot of times we take a back seat. We're not caring for ourselves in the manner in which we really need to. And so, part of the 3 vital behaviors in Beachbody is personal development. And I feel like oftentimes for people, that's the one that's lacking the most. Because we're trying to do all this other stuff, and then we don't have time to take care of ourselves. So this particular call is perfect for all of us, because I think we all need to remember that we have to take care of ourselves. And we need to be feeding ourselves spiritually, emotionally, physically, obviously nutritionally, but we need to be feeding ourselves in such a way that we are feeling fulfilled so that we can perform to the best of our ability in whatever it is that we're doing. So until I believed it, I said, I'm so pretty. So maybe some of you have a vision board or a dream board, or maybe you have a goal list. And maybe one of those things on there is being a star diamond or being a 5-star diamond, whatever. So instead of just seeing it, it's saying it, right? I am a 5-star diamond. So I'm saying these things, right, until I believe that that's the case. But it's the power of positive thinking. It's the law of attraction. It's the secret. It's whatever you want to say that it is. But there's actually a science behind that. So in my other job, I am a social worker, and I've done therapy on an individual basis and a group basis for people. And there really legitimately is a science behind our thoughts. So it starts with a thought, okay? So we have a thought, and then this thought influences our feelings. And then our feelings then influence our behaviors or our actions. So then whatever action it is that we choose to do, it will then impact our thoughts. And sometimes if it's negative, right? So if we're having negative thoughts and we're going to have negative feelings, and what's going to happen is we're going to be acting in a negative way. Now, I'm not saying that maybe you're not doing something horrific or negative to yourself, but you could be maybe not taking care of yourself. Maybe you're skipping meals. Maybe you're not drinking enough water. I mean, you're just doing whatever that's not helping you to feel good. And so it's so important. It's so important to do this. So if you start to have positive thoughts, even if you're forcibly doing it, so we've all heard that fake it till you make it. So having a positive thought will influence having more positive feelings, which will influence then our behaviors. And that will be the cycle that we get into. So are we going to have negative thoughts? Yes. We're human beings. Our thoughts are constantly going. Our brain's always happening. What I'd like you to do and encourage you to do is not judge those thoughts. Acknowledge that it's there, but then get it out, and get it out on a piece of paper, and then throw it in the garbage. Get it out by telling somebody else. Get it out by screaming it out. But just trying to get it out, because if we don't, then that's going to resonate and stick with us. It's going to influence our feelings. It's going to influence our behaviors. So the poem that I read to myself every single day, I know some of you have known it. I've read it before on a call that we've had, but I'm going to read it to you. I'm also going to read a couple of other ones also. It's called Phenomenal Woman by Maya Angelou, and it's probably one of my all-time favorite poems because, and I'm sorry, Matt, but it's one of my all-time favorite poems because for me, this was the thing that really got me out of a funk. And so maybe Matt's not going to be reading Phenomenal Woman to himself, but maybe you find that thing. Like, it could be a quote, it could be a song, it could be a a poem, um, find that thing, and then you keep repeating it to yourself. So I'm going to read it to you. Pretty women wonder where my secret lies. I'm not cute or built to suit a fashion model size. But when I start to tell them, they think I'm telling lies. I say, it's in the reach of my arms, the span of my hips, the stride of my step, the curl of my lips. I'm a woman, phenomenal woman, that's me. I walk into a room just as cool as you please, and to a man the fellows stand or fall down on their knees. Then they swarm around me, a hive of honeybees. I say, it's in the fire in my eyes and the flash of my teeth, the swing in my waist and the joy in my feet. I'm a woman, phenomenal woman, that's me. Men themselves have wondered what they see in me. They try so much, but they can't touch my inner mystery. When I try to show them, they say they still can't see. I say, it's in the arch of my back, the sun of my smile, the ride of my breasts, the grace of my style. I'm a woman, phenomenal woman, that's me. Now you understand just why my head's not bowed. I don't shout or jump about or have to talk real loud. When you see me passing, it ought to make you proud. I say, it's in the click of my heels, the bend of my hair, the palm of my hand, the need for my care. Because I'm a woman, phenomenal woman, that's me. And it is me. And it can be you too. And Matt, you could be a phenomenal man. Not could be, you are, Matt. You are. So, one other one, and then we're going to get an exercise. So if you don't have a piece of paper handy, get your paper now. Preferably loose. It doesn't matter the size of the paper, but you need a piece of paper. So, one more poem for your listening pleasure. This one is by a woman named Tia Singh, and it's called You Are Amazing. You are stronger than you know, more beautiful than you think, worthier than you believe, more loved than you can ever imagine, passionate about making a difference, fiery when protecting those you love, learning, growing, not alone, warm, giving, generous, quirky, sexy, funny, smart, flawed, whole, scared, brave, and so much more. Be strong, be confident, you. So here, it's like I feel like it's a new buzzword. It's like the new trendy day is about being our authentic selves. But we also hear be you unapologetically. So yeah, absolutely, I want you to do that. But do you know who you are? Do you really kind of know who you are? And more importantly, do you like who you are? Do you love who you are? Flaws and all. So obviously you're all muted, so you're not answering that question, but I want you to answer that, right? I mean, answer that for yourselves. And here's where the paper and pen are going to come in. So if you can get your paper, and what I would like you to do is just fold it in half, better, half like this, whatever floats your boat, fold it in half, please. And then maybe give me a thumbs up so that I know you're all good to go. Beautiful. Okay, so on one side, and it really doesn't matter what side you're doing this on one side, I would like you to write 5 things that you don't really like about yourself. Okay, so one side of this paper, you're going to write 5 things that you don't really like about yourself. There are a lot of people frozen. Is this, I wonder if it's my connection or, and when you're done doing the 5 things that you don't really like about yourself, maybe just sort of give me a thumbs up again or a wave of your hand so that I know that you're done with that part. Now on the other side, hopefully you guys are done. On the other side of the paper, I would like you to write 5 things that you really like about yourself. Okay, and now is going to be, I'm not sure if everybody's done or not, but what I would like you to do is unmute yourself so that we can kind of chat for a minute. And so my question is, how did that make you feel doing that?
I didn't like it.
You didn't like it?
No, because I thought it was hard. I'm struggling to come up with 5 things I like about myself. It's really hard to do.
I found myself smiling when I wrote the things I liked about myself. Made me happy.
Yeah, I kind of liked it. Like, I actually had a hard time coming up with 5 things that I didn't like. I only have 3 on my list. And even that third one, I was like, maybe? Like, I liked it. I felt really good because, like, if you had asked me 6 months ago to make this list, this process would have looked very different.
Anybody else have a hard time listing 5 things that you don't like about yourself?
I did.
Me.
Who's me?
Allie.
Oh, rock on. Yeah, that's good. I like that. I like that. How easy was it? Now, Dana already said she struggled with listing 5 things. Who else struggled with listing 5 positive things about themselves? No one? You all were like, yeah, I'm not going to stop at 5 and do 25. It came easier.
It was 5. I don't know about 25, but 5 I could do.
Why not 25?
It
Yeah.
would be harder. 5 was easy. 5 was good. 25 would be a lot harder. I got stuck at 5, but could easily come up with more I didn't like. You know,
Sure.
the usual. What you're doing.
Anyone else? Hard, easy. So generally, it's easier for us, some of us, to come up with the negative things, right? We could rattle that off fairly easily. But then to actually say something good about ourselves is like, it's awkward.
Too bad.
It makes us feel uncomfortable. We don't really like it. And that is, I think that maybe we can mute ourselves now just because there's a lot of background noise. And then when you talk, unmute. So I think overall, we live in a society where it's almost not accepted to have confidence. Because then people look at you like you're cocky or you're full of yourself. I've had people talking about all the pictures, all the selfies that you're posting on Facebook. And I'm sure some of us have even gotten that of like, oh, how full of yourself are you? They were constantly posting these pictures of yourself. And so, you know what I say to that? Who fucking cares? Because guess what? I am full of myself. And that's not a bad thing. I'm not being hurtful to anybody because I love myself. I'm not hurtful because I feel good about myself. But what that does is my light shines to the darkness, right? So we all have a light inside of ourselves. And that light shines out when we are feeling positive and we have that self-love and we're engaging in self-care regularly. And so when it hits somebody that's like stuck in that darkness, it's uncomfortable for them. And it could be an envious thing, it could be a jealousy thing. But I think that people that wonder about that or have negativity towards, the selfies and the things that we say, I think probably are feeling uncomfortable with their own selves or maybe have some kind of discomfort or stress or pain in their own lives. There's days where I might not be able to list 5 things I like about myself because I get in a funk, and I feel bad. And that's okay, right? I mean, we're going to feel badly. Maybe we're going to feel badly about our business. Maybe things aren't necessarily going the way we would like them to go. Caleb posts about this regularly and is like, I got to stop doing this. And I appreciate that he posts it, but I've been doing it myself is I'm comparing myself to other coaches and I'm comparing their success and my success. And then I get into like this sort of negative line of thinking of, well, I'm not doing what so-and-so is doing. I'm not doing what that person's doing. And I haven't reached this level of success. And you kind of get into this stinking thinking. And that breeds that negativity. So then I'm having these negative thoughts, I'm using these negative feelings, and then what am I doing? I'm not really working my business. I'm not really taking care of myself in the manner in which I really need to be doing. And I dare I say should, which I really don't like using the word should because I feel like should already implies that I've done something bad because I should have done that. But it's more about a need. We need to take care of ourselves and get to a place where we accept who we are. And in that one that said quirky and flawed and scared, and it's okay to have those emotions. It's okay sometimes to feel badly. It makes us who we are. It makes us all unique. But not sit in that. To not sit in there and to stay within that. Yeah, I could probably list 25 things that I like about myself. I might even be able to list more than that today. I don't know if I would say that tomorrow. I certainly would hope that I would. And sometimes I think, here's my question. Of the things that you like about yourself, you don't have to share your list with me, but I want to know who has physical attributes on that list. 1, 2, 3, 4. Christine, no.
That you like about yourself or don't like about yourself?
Like that you like.
Oh, then no.
It's not a physical attribute. Okay. April, you have one, or how many do you have, April? 1. Katie, 3. Okay. Heather, you said you have 2. Anybody else? Anybody else on their like list that has a physical attribute? Okay.
I could. I just didn't think about it, which is funny that you mentioned it. I didn't even go there.
I'm so glad. No, you didn't do anything wrong. I'm glad.
Yeah.
So,
No, I
Heather,
think that's funny.
Heather, you have 2. Take 1 off and put something else. Katie, you have 3. Take 2 off and think of 2 other things that are not a physical attribute. Sometimes it's easy to say a physical attribute. I like my hair, I like my eyes, I like the smaller size, I like, I don't know, that I'm sassy. Oh, sassy's not really a personality trait. Can be physical sometimes. Dig deeper. And those of you that have none, rock on, that's awesome. So that means that you're seeing beyond the exterior and looking deeper inside of yourself. So, Katie, you had 3. How hard is it to think of 2 others? Unmute yourself, girlfriend.
It wasn't that hard. It was the fact that I could say that there were 3 things that I liked physically about myself actually was a really, really big deal for me. That was a huge deal. But yeah, it wasn't that hard to come up with 2 other ones.
So I just want you to know I'm not negating your personal attributes, because you've probably now are at a place where you've had significant weight loss, and so I'm not downgrading that at all. Mm-hmm. But we are more than what is on the outside. We are so much more than that. And I think because of what's on the inside of you, Katie, it makes that outside shine even greater than any amount of weight loss that you could possibly have had. And maybe 6 months ago, you'd be singing a totally different tune, which, maybe for a lot of us it would be. A couple of years ago, I might not have been saying the same things. I know 10 or 15 years ago, I might not have been saying some of the same things that I say about myself now than what I did before. So I did my team call before this call, and we were talking about, and I feel like it goes along with my intention for you all tonight is, kind of having an attitude of gratitude. So a lot of people did the 30 days of thanks or 26 days of thanks in November. But somewhere, some successful person did some kind of research about other successful people and found that for most successful people, in the morning, before they do anything else, before they even get out of bed, they are formulating in their head and resonating on 3 things that they are grateful for. And it could be business related, it could be physical related, it doesn't matter what it is, but it's 3 things that they're grateful for. And this could be on a spiritual level, it could be on a physical level, it doesn't really matter, it could be on a business level. I know that there are some people, myself included, who may pray in the morning or might do some kind of meditation in the morning before you really do anything else. And so I encourage you to maybe start doing that. What else they do is they do that before they go to bed. And maybe it's the same three things. I don't think that necessarily matters. I think what matters most is that in the morning when they get up and at night before they go to bed, they're thinking about three things that they're grateful for. And maybe it's three things you're grateful for just in that day, in that moment, or maybe it's on a broader, larger scale. And maybe it's just you're thankful for running water, or maybe you're thankful that you're not buried in snow. Because I'll tell you what, I am. It's making the January trip to Dirty Jersey looking real good, because I'm not going to be worried about some wicked snowstorm. But it doesn't have to be crazy. I mean, it could be I have a car that works, or I have two legs that I can walk. Bookend, starting your day. Yes, starting your day and ending it. 72. Yeah, we're not having a white Christmas here up in the Below, and I'll tell you, I'm a little bit sad about that, because even my kids are like, "I'm not gonna have any snow." But so I'm strongly encouraging you to start your day and end your day with some sort of gratefulness or positivity. Because I feel like definitely at this time, and even in this season where it's stressful. It's stressful for a lot of people. I mean, sometimes, we feel good about holidays and giving back to others, and that's wonderful. But there's some people that have a really stressful time for the holidays. I'm struggling. I'm really, really struggling this year for the holidays. I think if it wasn't for my husband and my children, I don't really even think I would be in the holiday spirit. Feeling it this year, but I'm almost forcing the feeling for them, because I want them to enjoy it, and so I'm like gaining my enjoyment from the enjoyment that they're having. So sometimes the holidays aren't great. Sometimes they are, and in the moment it's wonderful, but it's not. So, and not even just during this time. I encourage you to continue to do it. Doing a bookend, starting with positivity and ending with positivity. I have another. No, I'm not going to read that one. I was going to read another thing, but. We all got into this business for a reason. I think at one point on one of the trips, and it might have even been Allison who said, Beachbody, I feel like, is a mixture of a lot of misfits. And what I mean by that is that we all have a story. Okay, each and every single one of us has some kind of story that has brought us to Beachbody. And yes, some of it is for a weight loss story, or to get in shape, or get stronger. But I think even deeper than that, and when you listen to the top coaches talking about their stories, you hear it, right? Like, Lindsay in that way was bankrupt with all these bills. Lindsay Stay was arrested for DWIs. I mean, I feel like everybody has a story. Maybe yours isn't extreme like that, but like we all have something. And so my other encouragement is to not get stuck in your story. Our story makes us who we are, right? And we all have a story. But it doesn't mean that we have to get stuck and stay there. And so I'm going to share a little something about a patient that I work with. He's an African-American male, and he's on dialysis. And he's a younger guy. I think he's 42 or 43. and maybe that's not young for some people, but we have a lot of like elderly, like 80s, 70s, 80s. So he's like a young dude that's on dialysis. And he really hasn't done anything for his life, really. I mean, he doesn't even have a high school diploma or a GED. He's talking about what he's going to be doing to get more money because he's currently on Social Security disability. And so he's talked about, I can't survive on this, I can't live, there's no money. And I really just looked at him and I'm like, so get a job. And maybe it sounded harsh, right? Because he's sickly, he's on dialysis, he's in the hospital regularly. He just kind of looked at me and he was like, what the hell am I going to do? And I'm like, I don't know, what do you want to do in your life? And he was like, oh, nothing. And I'm like, everybody has a dream. And he's like, no. He's like, I'm a black guy that lived in the city and I've got nothing. I came from nothing and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, and he's kind of just like looking at me and he's like, so I'm going to do is I'm going to be on the corner, selling drugs. And I'm like, why? He's like, I don't even have a high school diploma. And I'm like, okay, so get one. It's not that easy. If you say that that's the case, you're right. Then it isn't that easy. Nothing in life is ever easy. So I said to him, what's your dream? So, long story long, I guess it kind of jarred him, right? Like, it got him to thinking, like, what do I want to do? Like, what is something that I enjoy doing? And so he enjoys cooking. And he's currently in a GED program after I had given him, information. And I said, you're going to call these places. And when I see you the next time, I'm going to say, which one did you pick? And he just was like, all right, Maureen, I'm sure it was probably like, F off, lady, get the hell out of here. But on some level, it worked for him. Have a dream. Have your passion. Believe that the things that you want to accomplish are not so far out of your grasp. Think about where you were before and where you are now. Do you want to be where you were before? Maybe you're not where you want to be right now, but you're not back there anymore. And I think that's important for us to remember and to consider, is that we don't have to stay stuck in that stuff. And we came into Beachbody for a reason. And, weight loss, earning money, whatever it is. But don't limit yourself. Don't limit yourself by the standards that you're sort of setting. Don't have a ceiling. Have nothing. Reach for the stars and then go for it. Look at the people that have accomplished things. There's periods where we want to give up, and maybe even want to give up on life. And I don't mean that like literally, but maybe for some people you do. Like, you're like, I can't even take it anymore. Maybe you have stress and strain. Moving forward, even if it's a baby crawl, is still moving forward. Sagi the other day, today's Wednesday, Tuesday, yesterday, was talking about falling forward. And I was laughing just because his accent is so thick, but it's true. You're still falling forward. It's still a forward movement. So maybe you're not at where you want to be with your business. Maybe you're not at where you want to be at with your weight loss. Maybe you're not at where you want to be at in relationships. It doesn't mean that you can't get there. Don't limit yourself. Don't place limitations on yourself. That whole, she believed she could, so she did. And Matt, he believed he could, so he did. You never know what you can accomplish and what is really out there for you if you don't go for it. So my encouragement is really believe in yourself and, set big, scary goals and work towards them. Fill yourself with positivity and some it's tough, right? And it's hard, and you know, life knocks us down, but really push yourself forward. And if you're struggling and you need help with that, reach out to somebody. We have an awesome team here. A team full of people that are willing, more than willing, way more than you would ever imagine, to help you out. Be it a message or a phone call or anything. Just because we're on the computer or we're on a Zoom call, it doesn't mean that we don't care. And so if you're struggling, even if it isn't Beachbody related, like we're all here for one another. So fill yourself with positivity, even when it's tough. Have an attitude of gratitude, and try not to let life and stress hold you down, hold you back. So that's really all I have to say. Questions, comments?
Thank you for doing tonight's call. Honestly, I love every time you talk. I know it's always drastically different than when typical calls are. Sometimes we need it.
Can't hear you.
Yeah, I can't hear you either. I think it's because you're. Yeah.
Is that better?
Yes.
What I was saying is thank you for doing the call. I appreciate it. I love listening to you speak. And I know it's always very different than our typical calls.
Oh, wait, I want to interrupt you for 1 second. I'm sorry. I forgot the whole paper thing. And Erica, thank you for doing it. Do me a favor, ladies. So you folded the paper in half, right? Can you rip it in half for me? Like, and have the one and the one? Yeah, everybody do it. Yeah. Allison, you didn't fold your paper, or you did it?
Well, I didn't do it right. I can't rip it. I'll rip it.
Just have to rewrite it.
All right, go ahead.
Take the one. So take the sheet. Just hold the sheet up, the negative one.
Okay.
Rip that shit up. Throw it out. It's bullshit garbage. Be gone. Don't keep the paper and look at it again. I don't want you to look at it again. I don't even want you to think about that stuff because it's crap. Because you are awesome and you are amazing no matter what kind of flaws that you have. Oh, but you're ripping up the good stuff too.
No, I wrote all the good stuff down.
Oh, yeah. Get rid of that stuff because you don't need it. And you don't really. So get rid of it. Can
I say something?
Yeah, girl.
Okay.
Please.
So, thank you, Maureen. I love listening to you. So there's this whole idea of synchronicity, right? And today I was painting and I wanted to listen to something, and I would be honest with you, I wanted to listen to a no nonsense book, you know what I mean, like a Nora Roberts or whatever, or Jodi Picoult. But instead I decided, I'm like, I have so much PD in here. Let me start listening to some. But then somehow The Alchemist came up on my thing, and I'm like, I'm not going to buy anything right now, but let me listen to the sample. Blah, blah, blah. Listen to the sample, get really into it. Still don't buy it. Start listening to Brene Brown, Rising Strong. Has anybody read this? Okay. So I'm not even maybe into chapter 2 or 3, and it's already had such an impact on me. Number one, she references The Alchemist, within the first paragraph. And it was just bizarre. But what she talks about in this book, and the reason I'm bringing it up is because everything you said was so relevant to what I listened to today, was really about learning to lean into our failures, learning to lean into being vulnerable, learning to lean into all of these emotions that come with growth, that come with risking the ability to be ourselves, right? And anyway, I'm only, like I said, only a couple chapters in, and it's really really been emotional so far. The one thing I do want to say, she said something about really all these things we are learning. We're doing all this personal development, right? We're doing all these things, but are we applying it? Right. And this was the other thing. I started listening to another podcast and somehow the phone rang. This is how strange it was. And it was somebody else talking about this exact same subject. And he talked about it, not applying what we're learning, about taking everything in, but not actually using it as a spiritual fart, which I loved because it has the word fart in it. But I mean, it's so true. Like, when we're taking all this stuff and we think we know, and he talked about, so this is all things I listened to today, and I didn't sit on and do PD all day, but it was just how all these little pieces of information came to me today, and then you kind of, the epitome of it. So he talked about how we can be fluent in an idea, but until we've mastered it, it's really not part of us, and how listening to a call or listening to a PD or listening to something, instead of just listening to it and not, and just, and this is what I do. I just kind of hope some of it somehow merges itself with my DNA. I don't know, but I just keep thinking if I listen long enough, something's got to settle in, and it does. But a lot of times he mentions like stopping and taking what you just learned and writing it down and putting it in your own words, or explaining it to, as if you were explaining it to a 5-year-old. And that's how we integrate new concepts, whether they be how to run your business, how to stay organized in your business, how to invite, or to, how to be vulnerable and how to put it out there. We need to be, and I love the idea of writing, because it's, until you write, it's not there until it's out of your body. And there's a quote that I forget, I don't have my phone with me, but there's a really great quote, and it really would be great for all Beachbody coaches, because it really talks about integrating into our muscle concepts of personal development. It's really a good one. But anyway, thanks so much, Maureen. I love you.
I love you. I can't wait to see you. But I will say this. The universe is speaking to you, goddess. Listen. Let that resonate into your DNA. It's coming at you, girl, in all avenues. So let it sink in. And if it doesn't, I'll let it sink in on you when I'm at your house. I'm so glad that you all came, and came on the call. And, I wanted to do this stuff, and I said to Dana, yeah, I'll do this. And I really kind of came up with this idea of going off of what I did yesterday, which was, it was just so awesome. I can't even put it into words how awesome it was to do this group in the community and be doing a very light type of a group, like an empowerment group, right? I mean, it wasn't like hardcore therapy, which you wouldn't do a hardcore therapy group in a setting like that anyway. But, I share all of this stuff because I need it too. And just like Alice, going off of what Allison said, is we say it, we read it, maybe we're speaking it out into existence, but are we really actually doing it? And for me, sometimes it's repetitive. It's saying and saying and saying and listening and listening and listening and reading until it really sinks in, until I'm like, okay, yeah, I have been really struggling for a long time. I dare I say it's been a whole year. Lately I have been struggling with weight loss and like food, and I will drink my Shakeology every day forever. Like, that is not a problem. I have been working out, but I have been feeding my emotions with junk. And it literally wasn't until starting Hammer and Chisel this week where I'm like, I need to get my act together. So I share this stuff with you because I feel like on some level we all need it. We could learn from it. But I share it with you too because I need it. You know, I need it because I need to make sure that I'm not just saying it to people, I'm actually doing these things that I'm saying. It's so easy to give advice or to listen to stuff, but it's so hard to actually put it into practice and be doing it on a consistent basis. So I know this is really long and I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I love you all, and I'm so glad you came on. And I hope even just on some smidge of a level, you feel better than you felt when you got on this call, because I'd call that a win for everybody, really.
Well, thank you again, Maureen. Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good. I really want to thank you for doing this call. Like I said earlier, this is a very different call than we normally do, but we do occasionally do a call like this because I think it's important. If you're a newer coach and you're on this call, personal development as a Beachbody coach is extremely, extremely important. I'll share with you that I thought it was fluff when I first started. I wanted nothing to do with it. But as I think it was Caleb said to us on a call one time, you know, at some point you're going to hit a wall in your business. You know, you can go really well without developing yourself personally, and then eventually you're going to hit that wall in your business and you're never going to be able to go any further. So I think doing calls like this is important. I think personal development is important. I think it's important for us in order to be able to continue to share and grow and tell our stories and connect with people on a different way than just, hey, you want to cut some calories, lose some weight? Because as Maureen said in the very beginning of this call, there's another reason why we're all here. It's not just to get in shape. Like, and I remember talking about this, about how we're just a weird group of people that got together, and we all have this backstory, whether it be that we had something horrific happened in our background, or we were just a big dork in high school and had low self-esteem and no friends. We're just kind of all these nobodies that came together to be a bunch of somebodies. So in order to tell your story, whatever your story is, however simple or hard or whatever level of background story yours is, in order to be able to tell it, personal development is really important. And back to what I said earlier, my favorite thing I think that she said was the don't limit yourself by the standards we set for ourselves, and told the story of that man, because I think we all do that all the time. I'll never be a star diamond, or I'll never make $10,000 a month doing this, or I'll never do this, or I'll never get there. I'll never be top coach. Well, if that's your goal, then make it your goal and don't say you'll never get there. It doesn't have to be your goal. It's not everybody's goal to make that much or be the top coach or anything like that, but there's no reason why it can't be your goal. We're starting to see just within our team people hitting these amazing milestones. So yeah, it can be done, and don't set a limit on yourself about what can or can't be done. So that's my 2 cents. So thank you, Maureen. And I don't know if anyone else has anything that they'd like to share. Bye.
Thanks for having me.
Great job, Maureen.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I'm gonna say goodnight and stop recording, even though I know that half of us will stay on here and continue gossiping. Officially end the call now. Stop recording.